So these two men who were standing at the back of him, one had a small pot which was placed on the ground, and he had another pot, and that another pot he held in his hand which contained water, and at the bottom of that pot there was a small hole through which water could dip and just fall down in the other pot on the ground, making a noise that the blood of the man is falling down from the nerve that was to be split up open, and the blood, you see, that noise gave him an impression that his blood was coming out. So another man was standing there, had something like a pencil or pen, anything, not even a sharp instrument. Say a pencil. And now exactly at 12 o'clock, you see, these three scientists gave him an impression now that your nerve near your neck will be split open, and you will hear that your blood is falling down in drops in a pot. You will hear the sound. And this running of the blood will take away your life, and you will die. You will die very painlessly. So that man got the impression that this is really a fact, and that impression was so strong on him that the scientist said, look here, now it is 12 o'clock, we begin. And that man at the back of him started scratching his somewhere near the neck. It was not split open, no blood was taken up. At that very moment, another man let loose the hole with his finger, and drop after drop of that water started falling in another pot on the ground. And said, look here, now you are being bled. You are being bled to death. There was another doctor standing nearby holding his pulse. And every time, you see, the scientist at the back said that your blood is falling down, and you can hear every drop falling in the pot, and this is, we are bleeding you to death. And just as we went on, in a few minutes, you see, the doctor was examining his pulse. His pulse went low and low and low and low. Eventually the man died on the spot. And no physical harm was done to this man at all. So imagine the strength of that impression which was given to this man played havoc with his body, with his life. He took away his life. That is all.
Is this an actual experiment that was done?
You see, whether the story is real or not real, or whether it is true or untrue, we have to take the moral out of it. That impression is very strong if it is contacted, nurtured by the man all along his life. It becomes something very real for that man. Either he suffers or enjoys out of that. And after all, it's an impression. In like manner, the impressions that we have been carrying through all our previous lives, you see, has involved us into Maya. We have falsely identified ourselves with the unpublished book I saw when Baba was writing. And I remember having read only 2 pages of it. And I really do not remember what I had read. It is as back as about 43 years. And the rest of all the contents of the book were never shown to me. I was not expected to read it. But I definitely remember Baba sitting over there and writing the book every day. That is all.
Well, that God Speaks to the unpublished book that you're talking
No, I'm talking about the unpublished book. God Speaks is already published.
Do you know under what conditions that book will be published?
Well, I really do not know. All that I can say, after looking for the book so much, at so many places, that it may have been entrusted to somebody by Baba with an instructions to be brought out at the proper time. So, all we can do is to wait, watch and see.
Someone told me if you read a page of the book, you'd go crazy. Have you ever read
Probably the man who said was crazy.
Hey, can I tell you who told me that? But were you present when Baba dictated God's speech?
No, Meherjee says he was present when he used to dictate God's speech.
What did Baba say about the book Stay with God that Francis Barbizon had written? And under what instruction did Francis write that? Was he on a fast or anything at that particular time?
So what has fast got to do anything there? Whatever the instructions from Baba were there, the fact was there that Baba asked him to write the book and he wrote it. And Baba may have given him some points, or he may have taken down some points from Baba's other literature, and it took quite a while for him to write that book, and it was all under the instructions and guidance of Baba.
Just as the Wayfarers also, that Duncan had written?
Yes. Baba had asked Duncan to just write the whole account of all his tours and travels, and the explanations about different God-mad men that Duncan has written there in the beginning of the book, of course, was also the points were given by Baba.
Yes, that was very helpful.
Very helpful and very understanding and very clear and very good English. He was Mr. K.J. Dastur, and he was the first man, I think, who ever introduced the Baba magazine. And yes, about that incident, he claimed himself his seat reserved in front of Baba. I did not know anything about it at all. I just came from my home. I used to go on a motorcycle every evening on the top of the hill. And then I just happened to sit in front of Baba, so this man comes and tells me, this is my seat, you get away from it. I said, why should I? I do not know. There is a lot of room, you can sit anywhere. He got very much perturbed. Then I went and talked to him afterwards. Baba asked me to just go and talk to him nicely and make up for whatever he told him. And it was all right.
Can I ask you some questions about Baba's love? Did you feel Baba's love sometimes like grace on you, or did you feel Baba's love kind of all the time? Or did you feel like sometimes you had Baba's love like grace on you, and then sometimes maybe your mind was taking you away from Baba and you couldn't feel Baba's love? Tell me how you think Baba's love.
It is just, it was very natural. You see, Baba's love was felt and not felt. It all depended on my mood of the time. And
was that what he was doing or what you were doing?
No, that was what I was doing. Baba's blessing and Baba's love is ever there for us. It is how we react to it that is there. And it did not matter. At times I remembered Baba with all my heart, and at times I did not remember him. It really does not interfere at all in one's love for Baba. Just as one person loves his mother or his wife, many times they even fight with each other and feel very good of each other. You see, your moods do not remain the same, but it in no way interferes with your love for each other.
Yeah, except that when I'm loving Baba, and I'm aware of Baba's love, it's really easy, and it's not, well, maybe not easy, but it's a very happy thing to do what he says. But then, if I don't feel Baba's love and if I'm in some kind of mood, then I feel as though I'm really falling, because I'm not sure whether I'm doing what he wants.
No, that is an impression. There is no falling or rising at all. I mean, you see, you are.
Well, I feel like I'm losing my
If you love Baba, then you should not bother about these moods at all, because they are just passing things, they come and go. I do think that would be the effect of Baba's manifestation. The new humanity that is going to come would be born out of all the work that Baba has done during his lifetime, out of his love, out of his suffering for humanity.
And do you think the new humanity is here now in its infant state? Or
The
do you
process,
think-
according to me, the process has also already begun. It has to be a blending of things. If sudden changes were to be made in the world, you see, humanity will have to suffer very much. And I think Baba, having taken upon himself so much of the suffering of the world, he has really made it so much simple for the world, for humanity. It will be, according to me, a gradual process.
Well, do you think that there is going to be a tremendous upheaval in civilization?
Yes.
Soon.
Yes. You see, I couldn't exactly say what shape and form Baba's manifestation will take, because Baba's work was infinite, Baba's work was universal, and what shape and form that universal work will take, it has got innumerable ways to express itself, and I could not conceive of anything not taking place at a time. It may be an upheaval, it may not be an upheaval, it may be a gradual process. For a certain time it may be a gradual progress, and then a time may come, if God or Baba finds it that this slow process is really not effective, then there may be a flare-up for the time being. And then again the normal natural process may be resumed. We cannot say anything about it. But the sum total effect of all Baba's work will be there in the formation of the new humanity.
Well, a lot of people feel that Baba left the world in greater confusion than he found it.
All felt that way. All felt.
So,
Then, what do we see?
In 1909, here, our philosophers were writing about the new time that we are in. We thought we were already in an advanced state. We had averted several wars about that time. The Russian-Boer War was decided by arbitration, for instance. A Russo-Japanese War.
Yes, I know.
And we were heralding the new age of reason, a new age of reason. And then in this is what we were talking about, 1914, Meher Baba was 1913.
14 to 18.
Meher Baba was God realized.
Very soon give importance to their own son as being God personified or as being so high as that. It is very natural. But by experience and by seeing Baba's life, his love, his grace on them and on the rest of the humanity, they were convinced that Baba is nothing but the avatar of Jesus. And I remember Baba's father, not in the very beginning, but later on, when he used to write letters to Baba, he used to address Baba as Yazdan Meher Baba. Yazdan is God.
What you do?
Yes. Yazdan. I have read that letter.
Okay.
Would
There
it
was
be-
a nun. This is a joke that you may not understand.
Right.
But let me try to tell, all right?
But is it a huge joke that Baba refers to? A huge joke.
The what's your mission?
The joke of his creation, Baba says, you are ever so free, and got himself bound into illusion.
No, but this question about how did his mother and father feel that their son was God. There's a story that they tell in the United States of a nun who was very devout.
All he knew his work, and he did his work in a manner most suitable to the circumstances and occasion. That is all. seclusion or no seclusion. Supposing Baba did not even observe silence, do you mean to say that all the work that he has done and suffered, he couldn't have done, he could have done? But he found observing silence to be the most suitable thing for the present trend of humanity. That is it. Baba says the spoken words have had no effect so far. Principles have been given and they have been flouted ever since. So I find myself to keep silence in this autaric period.
But
Seclusion and no seclusion and silence and no silence are the different things that Baba uses as instruments to do his work.
The reason why I asked is because I saw a book, 84 Questions and Answers, and I never thought of it myself, but one of the questions in the book was why did he go into seclusion? And I was just wondering if you could elaborate more.
It is a question that could be asked even to an ordinary man. Why is it that you have taken orange juice today and not apple juice? Well, I found it congenial to me in some way or the other. Baba found it most suitable because Baba knows everything. Baba knows the entire trend of human beings today and he knows his work. So he made silence his medium, he made seclusion his medium. A certain time he fasted, he made fast his medium.
But yet he was never silent, as you said before, because he was really communicating all the time.
All the time through many, because Baba said that probably it was necessary because they were so inefficient to get the conviction about Baba's avatarhood in the most natural manner. So probably Baba had to deviate a little and bring the conviction in a different manner.
Yes. Well, now that's the first part of my question. And the other is that since I met Baba, I feel that Baba has given me signs, many signs at different times, particularly in my work. I feel that Baba has given me evidence of his divinity and of his presence with me. Do you feel that is only a subjective feeling on my part, or do you feel that Baba does give signs to people?
If he wants a certain work to be done through somebody, then definitely he would give. There is such a thing also as a subjective feeling. But if Baba has in mind to get a certain work done through somebody, as through you, about his paintings, which you do so beautifully well, in spite of the handicap of your sight, it's really wonderful. I think in your case, Baba has on his own given you that.
I have felt very, very definitely that Baba has made signs through my paintings. But I don't want to feel that I'm just fooling myself. Where you to draw the line?
Why should you think that way at all? Because it is not only, you cannot ascribe it to your personal subjective feeling, because it is not only the feeling, but it is coming out through your actions in the form of beautiful pictures and paintings which have a great likeness to Baba himself, his face, his body. I could not conceive of such a thing at all with the handicap of sight that you have got, my dear. I have seen painters having the full eyesight. They are not able to do such paintings at all. So they sometimes come and take up the picture and blow it up and just put in colors and say that we have done the painting. And such beautiful paintings and so many. It is a definite blessing of Baba.
Well, I feel that Baba lives in some of the paintings. I mean, he actually has them as his abode.
Yes, yes, yes.
Wouldn't a sign be a sign of Baba's compassion for us as subjective individuals? And as you say, all of this is Baba's, so that if we were to really begin to live in Baba, what is not a sign? But we as egos have suffered so much in our loneliness that these things that we call signs show Baba understands our individual thinking, our individual
What was that Baba said to me, and what was the last thing that Baba said to me? Well, as far as my memory will go so far back, Baba said, "Are you happy?" when I saw him, and I said, "Yes, I think so." And Baba said, "Be happy, don't worry, and I will help you." And then that was in 1931, when Baba's first visit to the West, and he came to stay at my parents' home. And the last thing he said was in 1962 at the Darshan, when we were all called by Baba, and he was sitting on his chair, and I went up like everybody did, each one by one. And I wasn't sure if Baba was going to tell me that now I could stay in India, but no. He just looked at me and he said, "Are you happy?" And I said, "I hope so, Baba." And then he said, "Well, be happy, and wherever you are, there I am." And I was in India on and off till 1952, and I'm still with Baba now, and now it's 1969, and I've never had one moment of doubt in my mind as to what Baba was. Although my brother left Baba for his own reasons, it never had the slightest effect on me. I never for one moment gave it a thought, well, I must do what my brother's done. Baba held me in some way, and as I came to Baba, simply because I felt the strength of his divine love, and it was that which I held on to all the time. And as for whether he was this or that, Baba never asked us to believe that he was either avatar, messiah, teacher, or anything. He was always friend, mother, father, brother and sister, everything. And ever since I met him, I can't think of any action consciously that I did which Baba wasn't included. And as for having to plan anything in my life, I can't ever remember having planned anything since that 1931, because Baba from then on always told me what he wanted me to do and where he wanted me to be. And so that has been my life ever since I met Baba, and still is. And as for Baba having given up his physical body a year ago, as Elizabeth and I both feel Baba had already helped us for that separation by calling us from India some years earlier, and we carry on just as we did when Baba was with us, because we had always had to think of Baba in India and not with us, and now his presence is stronger than it ever was. And so life remains as it always was. It was our first year when I think we thought we were living in that kind of emotional state, and where some people thought we were just always fanatic because we came to meet Baba and he was giving us so much love in order to get us, as you might say, into the net, as it were. And I think that nothing can ever take the place of that first year that we were with Baba. And also, the last year of the new life, ashram life, or life in the ashram, started in 1936 and continued up till 1949. And then when Baba called us on 3 occasions for a short while, Rano and myself, for a month at a time during the new life, Baba was then, although he was not exactly our master, we had to obey him, and he was our friend. And therefore, the life during those 3 periods was very different from what it had been in the ashram. And I can always recall that. It was just like one small family together. And
was there much harmony in the ashram then?
Perfect. It was just perfect. There were only about 8 or 10, and Baba was in that new life phase and was suffering very much. And all of us who were there, we all were doing our best to make things as easy as we could, and we were just like one happy family. Baba wasn't, as far as we knew, there wasn't any discipline attached to it, although Baba was always aware of everything that you were doing, just as much as I believe today. Although Baba's not with us physically, we still are undergoing tests. We are still having to be always remembering what Baba wants us to do. Our training has not finished by any manner of means, although we may not be quite so conscious of it as when Baba is in our physical presence.
When Baba came in, I understand that there were times when if there was any disharmony, Baba would do something to fix it.
Yes, I mean, Baba always was quite aware of the undercurrents that went on, whether you showed it outwardly or not. And if Baba had that particular time and wished it, he would bring it up, and it would be solved there and then. Or if he felt that you could solve those things by yourself, then he preferred not to interfere, and therefore it would carry on for some little time. In the early days, Baba definitely went about bringing up our mood very quickly. Later on, he left it more for ourselves to overcome, because he hadn't got the time. He said his universal work had begun, and he couldn't go. And I think the thing that I recall now, since my visit a week or a month ago to India is that beautiful picture on the tree. I heard from India only today, and they said they always think of me sitting on a stool in front of that tree. And it's true. I think it's the most remarkable thing, that miracle of Baba's. It's the most perfect portrait of Baba carved out of that tree. And to me, it's such a strong, well, what am I say? You know that Baba has done it, and you know, therefore, that Baba wants us to feel that his presence is still with us, although his physical body is no longer with us. And therefore,
It was in the month of June or July that the women there at Meherjee saw Baba's face coming up in the tree. It was first Mehra who saw it, and nobody knew anything about it until one day, after a few months, I happened to go to Meherjee, and I was informed about it. I was so taken up by it. They showed me, and I had a look on Baba's face, and such a marked resemblance. I was very much impressed by it, and I thought it is time that people should know about it. And when I went back home, I felt that maybe there are so many persons in the world who do not accept Baba, but here even there is a tree in the garden at Meherjee who accepts the presence of Baba, and expresses it through forming a picture, Baba, which looks, which has such a marked resemblance to his face, to his forehead, and the cloth that he used to tie around his forehead. About a month before Baba gave up his body, I went to Meherjee, and he had me called inside, and he was suffering so much from the inner work and also from his ill health. And he told me that, do you know who I am? I asked him a question, Baba, is it a question after about 45 years of my stay with you? He said, yes, it's all right, but do you know who I am? I am God. I know my work. I know what I do. I know what I suffer from. It is my inner work, and maybe my condition will become worse. But I may go, but I'm going to come back. I'm not going to go anywhere at all. And you please go and phone up Dr. Ginde, of course, who used to come to Baba whenever he was called, not to come now, and to come only when I want him to come. I hardly realized that Baba had in mind to get this Dr. Ginde exactly at the time when he was about to drop his body. And I went home and sent him the phone, and when I sent him the phone call, Dr. Ginde, who was ever eager to go and see Baba, but he always told me that you do not take me to Baba for giving him any treatment, because I definitely know that he is beyond my treatment and I can be of no help to him for the matter of his treatment. But if you want to call me, please call me to go to Baba and take his darshana. And I said, you should not come now, and you should come when you are asked to do so. So after some time, just on the day when Baba was to leave his body, a message from him that I should immediately call Dr. Ginde from Bombay. I sent a phone, and he immediately left Bombay in his car to go over to Ahmednagar. And when he arrived before noon, he sort of was very, very tired, and he at once went to the bathroom, and maybe at that time he himself got a very mild heart attack. He felt restless for a time. He asked me for a cup of milk, and I asked him to take a little rest, but he became so restless to go immediately to Baba. Then he got into his car and drove along and I followed him. We both reached Meherjee. The moment we reached, Governor came out and shouted at me, "Come immediately." And we both entered. And Dr. Briesman from Booth Hospital was also summoned. He also had come in his car. And we all three together entered Baba's room. Everybody was so anxious about Baba and Dr. Ginde and also Dr. Briesman. When they examined Baba, they found that he had already passed on.
I had at least 3 cables during the years that since I left India in 1952, in which Baba has always said, "You are nearest to me if you are where I want you to be, and continue to love me more and more, and I am always near you." No other message did Baba ever really give me, and it was the only one that I really needed since he sent me back from India, and I had thought perhaps I was going to always be in India. But when he said, I send you where I want you to be for my work, then one can be happy under all circumstances. No, I don't think that there was anything outstanding, except that I met Baba, and when we first came to England, and Baba had always said, even on that first morning that he was with us, and I happened to mention, he said, "Is there anything you want?" And I said, "Yes, increased capacity to love, Baba, and an increased capacity for service." And Baba said, "You will have both in a very short while." And now within a week of that, Baba saying that, he called me from London to go down to the ashram at East Chalicum, where Meredith's car was. And he said, "Come and stay a week and bring your niece with you," called Zilla, a girl of 14. And I went down and saw Baba, and that was on the Sunday. And then on the Thursday he called me and he said, "I want you to go back to London. But would you ask me to come and stay a week with you?" So Baba said, "But didn't you say that you wanted to serve?" And I said, "Yes, Baba." Well, then he said, "I have some work for you to go and do in London. I don't want to remain in London more than the 10 days. My work here is finished for the time being, and I want to go on to New York. And I want you to arrange for my passages to go on to New York." So I left and said that was okay, Baba. And ever since then it's been the same. Baba has always found something, because he knew that I was that type, that I wanted to be very active in his service. And there he's shown his love for me all these years, because he's always kept me, even up to the present time, active in his love, working for him. So that's been perhaps Baba's very great gift to me, and his love, of course. So my love for you or your love for me, and I hesitated, and I said, "I suppose, Baba, your love for me," and Baba smiled. That was very early on, of course, you see. But you know, I think it's very important that we think so much about our love for Baba, and I sometimes think we need to think a little bit about Baba's love for us, which is the greater, and which we take so much for granted. Baba has often said, "Those of you who live with me, you treat me so familiarly that you sometimes forget I'm both God and man."
Even to the personal God or the personal God, maybe personal God, Meher Baba or Christ, none of his worship goes to waste. It is all there for him. He gets the reward. But when the intensity rises so much, goes to that pitch and standard, then Meher Baba himself walks the distance and comes to you. And says this.
So
You have made yourself deserving.
So any love for God
No, that I wouldn't say.
love for God, heartfelt devotion for a greater.
I will give you an instance. Who is the president of the United States today? Nixon. You are a relative of Nixon. You are in some trouble somewhere. And there is a relative of who was the previous president? Johnson. There is another Johnson's relative. Now both are in the same trouble. This is just an analogy I'm giving. So do you mean to say that the friend of Johnson will be get a relief earlier than the friend of Nixon?
Does that mean something about Baba and Christ? Is that right? But they're both the same person. But he came down again.
The president is the president.
No, different person.
Same person, so far Christ consciousness goes. But the personality is different. Their physical bodies, subtle bodies, mental bodies are different. That the constitute their personality is different.
Does that mean
The Christ state and the consciousness and the seat of avatarhood. I will explain you. Keith Johnson and Nixon are both the same. They are the same so far the president who is concerned. But they are two different individuals.
At this point, when they say, when you love God.
No, I'm not going to answer if you don't give me a cigarette. This is always, I got so many packets of cigarettes over there and I handle every day forget it. I do not know why. Thank you very much. Anyway,
I've read that when you love God, God says, when I am loved by any lover, there I am, in the imagination of that lover. And my imagination is not good enough to imagine Christ's subtle body or Baba's subtle body. To me, it's just God, you know, God in this clay form, and I don't know anything about anything. I'm just trying to love. So
yes, but you get the reward, my dear. But in spite of that, after getting your full reward, you want to have that spacious reward. From the avatar Meher Baba, who is the current avatar, who is the avatar of the crime without worshipping him, without thinking of him. You want to think of Christ and have the reward from Meher Baba.
Does that mean that
God.
God is represented by him. God is the same. But when he has to deal with illusion, the same God has another aspect of the avatar. He has to deal with the universe. You see, it is all changing.
Adi, does that mean that Christ's power is no longer effective? Does that mean that Christ's power is no longer
Baba has explained that every avatar who comes puts his power into action.
He used to come walking mostly, and over the bridge used to come from here. Baba many times used to stand in the center of the bridge, look at the lake. There was those alligators also, and it was a wonderful sight. Then he used to come here, come up. Sometimes Baba used to stand here, watch the birds and the lake.
Did Baba go out in the boat when he was here?
I don't exactly remember, but I think he had been once or twice. I don't exactly remember. Yes. In 1947, when I first came to the United States on a business trip,
that's what.
Elizabeth had sent John Bass to receive me at the airport in New York.
And he became into the woman.
And he missed me, and he was busy with entertaining some Indian woman with a child in her hand. Said universal, I said Center for the Americas. Is the Center for the Americas. But I feel that it might become one day even universal center. Even it may surpass Indian centers. The atmosphere is like that. And Baba had taken great. Baba had said this center would become a place of pilgrimage for all. And it is already becoming. We see people from all. Elizabeth says that practically every day from somewhere somebody crops up here.
They come from everywhere. From
Yes.
Mexico, from Mexico City, from Texas, and California, and all that.
Baba has been walking with you. So quiet, so peaceful. Forget all your worries, home, or at least I don't think of home or my factory or anything, except when I receive some letter.
Meherjee, did Baba say anything about the development of this center in the future?
Well, it has to develop. I mean, Baba has said that Baba wants this to be developed as a spiritual retreat, not as a hotel or something like that, or a resort. was the first time when many of the Baba lovers had gathered here from all parts of United States, mostly from New York side, San Francisco, and other places in California, etc. They were gathered here all, maybe, I don't know, 200 or 300. And Baba gave individual interviews to each one separately. I was present. That was given in this cabin, Laguna. Well, those interviews were mostly private. Someone questioned, someone put their personal difficulties before Baba, family difficulties, children, health, spiritual, all sorts of questions were asked to Baba, and Baba, in his own way, replied them, and I feel that they were all satisfied with what Baba told them. Well, Baba used to, I think that time that ping pong table was in that cabin. What do you call that cabin? Lake. There Baba used to play sometimes with us or other visitors with ping pong. Just for a while. Huh?
Was he a good player?
Oh, Baba was a very good player. Baba used to play ping pong. Baba played cricket very well. And we used to play cricket with Baba in India. After the accidents, it was stopped because we could not.
How do you play cricket?
Cricket is, it's an English game.
Yeah. I sit down with a hammer and you...
You see, there are 3 sticks. One fellow sends a ball, another fellow strikes with the bat. It's not, baseball is different. Baseball you throw like that. Yes, people were all used to sit outside. And one by one they were taken into the cabin. Sit here. And then one by one they were taken inside. And few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes sometimes, Baba gave them interviews. They put before Baba questions, some of their family life, some for spiritual matters. And as far as I feel, they were all satisfied with Baba's replies given there. It was a very tense atmosphere inside the cabin when people came, some with tears. Were they satisfied with what Baba told them? I said I feel that practically everyone was satisfied with what Baba told them. Baba gave them his love, Baba embraced them, they bowed to Baba also. And it was, good experience for those who met. Baba in silence gave them his love to them. And according to...
people were very emotional.
Some of them were very emotional, some of them were in tears, some of them were so emotional that they could not put their questions to Baba even. And when Baba asked them, say something, they said, there is nothing to say. There were some like that also. Of course, Baba gave them in silence his love so much that many of them were thrilled, almost thrilled. Some of them would not like to leave the cabin even. And the others were outside waiting. Yes? Jai Baba. Mrs. Deuce, who took a long time with Baba. At that time, the Sufism was discussed, and Sufism as then existed was disbanded, and Baba made out a new charter for them to work. It was named as Sufism Reoriented. Baba gave points, and accordingly they, I think, are following. Because Sufism is also nothing but the way to way to reality. It's only the word Sufism is there, it's a Persian word. We call it a universal spiritual center here. It means the same thing. So Baba, in order as they were using this word Sufism and continuing as a society, so Baba allowed them to do that, but it has to be for Baba and spreading Baba's message of love and truth, not the previous masters or so-called advanced Sufis on other planes. There have been many. In that case, Hafiz was a Sufi, Shams Tabriz was a Sufi. They were all masters. past masters. It's very difficult for me to remember now after 18 years what happened then. But most of them were, just they came to meet Baba. Most of them had no personal questions to ask. They just wanted to see Baba, receive his love. And his love, as is always, it was flowing. It is flowing even now. It depends upon the receptivity of our hearts to receive how much one can receive. Some received more, some received less, that according to their capacities. But mostly people came just to have love from Baba. And they did receive. Some of them had their personal difficulties also put before Baba, and Baba consoled them, gave them his blessings. How those blessings proved to them, I do not know.